Welcome back, everyone, to the Duke Men's Lacrosse Show. I'm your host, JD Blitch, alongside head coach John Danowski. We are delighted to have you tuning in to episode 3. It's been a week and a half since our last episode, and as a heads up, it'll be a week and a half until our next one as well, when we return at the start of the week of March 14th. The 2022 season has been action-packed so far, but the team schedule, as well as our schedule here, will soon settle into a regular weekly routine, and we'll have episodes on Monday or Tuesday of each week starting next episode. Duke is 2-1 in its past 3 games. So, Coach, before we dive into the specifics, what's your 30,000-foot overview of the team right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're delighted as we prepare for Richmond on Saturday, but we're delighted with our progress. We're delighted with the experience, the game experience that the guys are getting. And the hope is that we're a little bit better on Saturday than we were on Tuesday.
The team has a few holes here and there, as is the case with any team. But if you could fix one problem with the snap of your fingers, maybe it's clearing or maybe it's ball movement on offense, but just one thing you could instantly fix, what would that be?
Probably just general adherence to fundamentals. Every once in a while we become somewhat undisciplined and we lose our sense of our foundation. And I think that if we were just a little bit more accepting of just their training, their the way we do things here. And that takes time. It takes time to build that trust. It takes time to build that belief in that, what we do works.
Yes, sir. The team came out very strong in the third quarter against High Point, with Duke winning the quarter 6-2. What did you say to the team at halftime that may have sparked that run?
Nothing that we said. Jake Naso did a terrific job all night at the Face-Off X, and we're able to have possession more than not, which in games like that, which was a shootout, is really important. We were able to score a couple of goals early. I thought gave the guys confidence, and it made any kind of High Point run a little more difficult. Certainly High Point was incredibly talented, really played very hard, the entire game, and we were just fortunate enough that we were just a little bit better at the X.
Sean Lulley has been a huge part of the past 2 Duke wins, scoring 5 goals against both Delaware and High Point. How big has that been for his confidence, and what does his play tell you about the role he'll have on this team going forward?
Well, that's why we play these games is that, you've got freshmen, you've got, quote, rookies, fifth-year transfers who are playing, in a Duke uniform for the first time, and they need to be in games. They need to see what it's like. Playing against Penn was very difficult for Sean, being, he had been a Penn guy for 4 years, and so certainly I don't know that he had his best day on Saturday, but he's proven that when he's a full-time, because Joe Robertson is out, he was sharing the time with Dyson Williams on attack. They were splitting the time. He's proved that if he's a full-time attackman, he can be very productive.
There's a lot to learn from each game. You get 60 minutes of tape, and Duke has been busy so far this spring, having played 8 games before the season turns 4 weeks old. How beneficial has it been to you and the coaching staff to have so much game film to analyze and then plug the holes in practice?
Well, I think number one is the guys are having fun. They like playing games, they like, and you find out who your competitors are, who the guys, who are the older guys who are stepping up in leadership roles, are the younger guys adapting to the college game, what are those things that you're looking for intangibly? The tangible stuff is easy to pick out, and that's the stuff that we'll drill down once we, kind of have a little bit more time starting next week with spring break as we go to 2-a-days during spring break. But it's always a fun time early in the year to really just kind of watch and learn and to see how how we can get better.
The goal is always for the team to develop into a national championship caliber team, but do you think greater strides are made towards achieving that goal during a practice or during a regular season game?
No, during games. I mean, you can practice, 100 times, but until the officials come out and another opponent, television now, people in the stands, playing Saturday at Penn or on Long Island versus Penn, over 3,000 people. There was standing room only, people lined up along the fence, people, really giving it to our guys, a lot of trash talking from the stands. Guys have to learn how to handle that. Nobody trash talks the other team, and we don't really have a lot of fans out there. But boy, people love to hate Duke, and it's something our guys need to experience. You don't experience that in practice. Practice is, it's wonderful. You run around and, you take a break, and then you play again, you take a break. Game day is what it's all about.
Yes, sir. And Duke plays in 17 games in the regular season this year. That's the most in program history. Could you see that number increasing in future years, or is 17 maybe the limit?
Well, 17 is the limit by NCAA standards.
Okay.
And the way I look at it, now everybody, every program chooses to do whatever they choose to do, but in the in college football, nobody chooses to play 9 games. They all choose to play the maximum.
Very true.
Basketball, everybody chooses the maximum. In our sport, for whatever reason, people don't choose the maximum. I think, coaches, we have a 52-man roster. We have depth. We have guys who are dying to play, who would love to get in. So it's it's an opportunity, hopefully, to, even if you have a couple of injuries along the way, then it's the old coaching cliche, next man steps up. And I don't think that's any different in our sport than it is in any other. And so for me, it's when the kids look back at their experience here, they're going to remember the games. They're not going to remember really the practices.
There have been a lot of positives to come with the crowded schedule so far, but have you seen any drawbacks or negative effects that have come with that as well? The 7 games in February are the most in program history as well. Have you seen any fatigue setting in? And if not, how do you avoid something like fatigue?
Yeah, no. I mean, we everybody gets a day off. As per NCAA regulations, we use the catapult system, so we monitor the GPS, their movements. Practices are are very similar to games, so that means that a Tuesday game against Delaware is similar to a Tuesday practice. And so, we obviously, in terms of, we weigh them in and out every day, and so we look at their weight, we look at their, and it's been everything has been really smooth at this point.
Awesome. And what was the reason you got into coaching lacrosse in the first place? What made you fall in love with your job as a coach?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you can't play anymore. So if you can't play anymore, it's the closest thing. And it's the relationships that that I had through our through growing up and playing, whether it was in high school and college, and even after college. An opportunity. You don't have to be in an office every day. Mm-hmm. You can affect perhaps some change in a young man's life. You can, the foundation or the principles of, hard work, commitment, communication, sacrifice, all those things are learned, being a part of a team. And it's very hard to explain to someone who's never been part of the team what that feels like and what that's like. The energy that goes into preparation for a game, the joy of winning, and the absolute distress of losing, the highs and lows of a game or highs and lows of a season. And to me, there's nothing like it. Now, I commend people who can sit in an office, their whole careers, but, that just wasn't for me.
Yes, sir. And you began your career at CW Post as an assistant. When you got the promotion to become head coach, do you remember what you were feeling right after you got the job, when you realized that you would be the leader of the team?
Yeah, I was kind of hustling at the time. I was newly married, and I was a grad assistant at Columbia University in football. And so I was making $90 a month at Columbia, and free tuition. So that was not a bad deal. I probably took 20 credits in exercise physiology at the time. And so my wife was kind of, she was carrying the load, so to speak. But I was also the assistant that spring at CW Post. And when Tony Seaman left to go to the University of Pennsylvania, the job opened. Now, not a lot of people applied for the job because it only paid $4,000. So, because I had a degree, I had a master's degree in counseling, I was able to run a dormitory there. Got paid $6,000 for that, free apartment, 2 meal passes when school was open. And so, we were making $10,000, and it was doable. Mm-hmm. And it was fun. It was fun.
Were you more excited or nervous about first becoming a head coach?
Excited. It was, these were a group of young men that first season as an assistant coach, we were 13-3, and we had lost, only 3 games. And so we were excited about the future. And unfortunately, or fortunately, Tony left. And it was just a great opportunity, to bring, to work with some friends. I don't know that I was quite ready for it. I was only 27, but I jumped at the opportunity.
For sure. And fast forward, this is now your 40th season coaching college lacrosse, 16th year at Duke. Do you feel like you're learning new things each year, or have you kind of cracked the code on how to best lead a group of young men?
No, the beauty of, again, our business is that it changes every year. The young men that we're coaching are growing up a little differently than we did, and so we have to adjust, in terms of how we prepare and how we coach and what we do. The NCAA and the university gives us rules and regulations to live by, which are different than existed, when we first started this. But through it all, it's the beauty of the human dynamic. You're working with different students. You're working with a population of young, eager minds. And again, it's never the same. No 2 teams are the same. No 2 seasons are ever the same. And it's always exciting to look forward to the next day of practice.
Yes, sir. And let's go to the face-off. These are the quick hitter questions. You had a plane flight this past weekend up to Long Island, and travel is a constant throughout the season. Do you have a favorite snack when you're on the plane?
No, actually, I'm trying to cut some weight, so
okay.
I try to just water would be my snack of choice right now.
There we go. And thankfully, food does get better than what they serve on planes. So if we were to talk more broadly, what's your favorite meal?
Right now, I'm a heavy salad guy.
Okay.
I'm fish, salmon, and last night was tilapia and salad with Brussels sprouts on the side.
I love it. No more Long Island pizza as much?
I didn't have any. I stayed away from the pizza. I stayed away from the bagels. I stayed away from everything this past weekend.
There we go. And, Coach, you asked me this last week. I got to flip it back on you. What are you reading right now?
I am reading Killing Kennedy, all right,
okay.
by Jim O'Reilly, right? Chaminade guy.
Yes, sir.
And I just finished. I finished The President and The Freedom Fighter, which is which was Abraham Lincoln, and so I just kind of a little bit of the history right now, and I'm kind of interested in that.
Crazy you mentioned Kennedy. I just started An Unfinished Life, the biography on JFK. So
see that, man? Great minds think alike.
Exactly. There we go. Let's move on to Richmond. Coming up, it's a 12 p.m. face-off on Saturday. What will you do between now and then to prepare for Richmond?
Well, we started preparing yesterday, the day after a game. We didn't go hard, but we started to walk through Richmond Ride, Richmond Clear, some of the things, and also try to we look at the things that we didn't do well the night before, try to correct some of those, and then start some preparation. So we'll continue to prepare today and tomorrow and Friday night as well. We have a team meeting the night before a game where we'll look at film. But it's important to us, right now, offensively, we're in a pretty good kind of groove in terms of generating shots and scoring goals. And, defensively, teams play different week to week. You're never quite sure if you're going to see maybe some man, maybe we'll see some zone. They showed zone early in the year against North Carolina. So we got to prepare for both man and zone. Their goalie is terrific. He's over 60% for the season, which is a phenomenal number. So we're going to have to be able to shoot well. We'll focus on shooting. Defensively, we've got to focus on the fundamentals, on our approaches to the ball, on our decision-making to help, defending well inside. They have the Lashbury kid has been, we've played against him now for 5 years, and he's terrific. And so they have some really high-end offensive talent. Their coach his teams are disciplined and well-prepared, and Anybody who we play non-conference, they'll have their conference schedules. So in a sense, not that these games are meaningless, but for them, we call it house money. They come in and they don't have to win, but if they do win, just having the game on the schedule raises their RPI. And if they do win, then they have a shot at an at-large bid. And all they have to do is come in the top 4 of their conference in order to compete and try to get into the NCAA tournament. It was very similar to what I used to do at Hofstra, is that we'd schedule as good a non-conference as we could. We would play Duke and Carolina and Hopkins and Princeton, and knowing that if we just got one of those, that maybe that put us in position if we didn't win our conference tournament. And so they're going to come in here excited, fired up. And when you're loose and you're not really worried so much about the outcome, you play better. You play much better. No
doubt. It should be a great crowd, great weather. The Duke UNC game is later in the day, so there will be plenty of people in the area, and it's going to be exciting to watch the Blue Devils take on Richmond. That's going to do it today for episode 3 of the Duke Men's Lacrosse Show. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time, and go Duke!